campaña, de campaña, ay, mira,
Okay, YouTube.
el miedo que saluda. No sé qué tipo es. Son los más sinceros.
If I'm honest, I was expecting to be banned from
Ahora que se viene el verano, yo voy a mandar dinero para llevarlos a la
and I thought they would ban me before now, but
pero a los
no, they just did it.
oye, yo he visto una foto de Estefan, o sea, con lentes negros, cuando nosotros
Admittedly, though, I was not having a good. I'm not having a good time here in DC.
para poner chapas, me pedí un poco número uno, le di un defecto y ya de arranque, es ahí donde me
And Christmas, I don't celebrate. But I got so pissed because the pedos who attack me get to see their children. And I don't get to see my baby. I don't get to see my son. I miss my son. Yes, I know he's 10, but I miss him. I mean, my son is great, really, but I know he's an adult, but I miss him. But I got so upset. And then I started drinking. And before we know it, before I knew it, well, not before I knew it, but I very much watched myself say people are stupid. Which is unusual for me. I don't normally call people stupid. But I'm so tired. I'm tired of being in an environment that I absolutely hate. And having very little power to do anything about it. Because of not necessarily that I don't have any power, but evil has a mountain. Evil has a mountain of strength. They're cannibalizing babies and they have a mountain of strength. And I have to cultivate a mountain of strength out of people who worship people who cannibalize babies. I'm gonna be honest, when I first knew that I had to, I got real hurtful. I was very hurt because, and then, as I said, I had my place. Something brought me here. Anyway, I was drinking and I was sad. And I thought to myself, all I want to do is drink by myself. But there was people there. So by the end of the, by like 2 a.m., everybody was drunk. And so we were all like loving on each other. Like we were all so happy and euphoric and drunk. We were like married. But in the beginning, like I thought, all I want to do is be by myself and drink by myself. Like I was even thinking I'm just gonna go to the little corner somewhere. I had like 2 bottles of wine I bought. So I was thinking, let me just go drink alone. But then eventually I went near people. And of course I didn't drink alone. But on to the lecture. But yeah, they did actually ban me on TikTok. And then I was drunk enough, not that I was drunk enough, I refused to beg me to go back. I refused it. Because I didn't say anything wrong. Although I rarely ever call people stupid. I didn't say anything wrong. And I was a little drunk, it was New Year's. Anyway, I refused. And I still teach sacred text, so it's not that I don't teach sacred text. But yeah. Something did happen though. So I'm gonna start writing my story again, writing again on Wattpad. No, it's not AI. Why? But okay, beings make beings. And this is where I was yesterday. So when you look at space, how about I just start? So when you look at space, you look at stars. Okay, first of all, I'll tell you about stars and about fire. Stars are living beings. They are very, very gorgeous living beings, and they are made out of very gorgeous living beings. And if you can perceive around them, they also make beings and grow other beings. They cultivate other beings. And so they make atmospheres. And they are atmospheres themselves. So space is a star's atmosphere. It's an atmosphere that a being with that amount of processing. Hello. When you look at the star is something that is processing so much more, that is generating that much heat. Because of all the heat that a star generates, the stars need that particular atmosphere. Now, that atmosphere is filled with things, of course, we know why they call it black matter. It's because it's a relative perception that the human eye doesn't see. but it is a star's atmosphere. So humans are not going to be able to survive in a star's atmosphere because we don't generate that much heat. So the movies and the television shows about space exploration um, are largely manifested by very evil minds. People who are willing to do very evil things to get their ideas um, projected in a very big way and have connections with other people who've done the same thing. And they all seem to have similar ideas. And their similar ideas is people wearing a space suit, people wearing a spaceship, going out into a vast space and going from planet to planet and exploring. And they even have similar ideas about what those other beings will be like that they were encountered. And if you notice, all of their ideas anyway, if you notice, they all have similar ideas about how that's going to be done. They have similar ideas about how those other beings are going to react to that exploration and to the introduction of themselves. Those ideas are very similar to how humans reacted when the beige left Europe and colonized all over the earth. They think it's going to be very much like that. They think it's going to be, they get out, it's going to be this vast kind of water. Like space is water. And they think that they're going to be able to go and inhabit other planets, make some sort of connections. And they still put themselves as some sort of main or head judge and conductor of those relationships, you see. So, and that was done here by a bully, you see. And, but they still feel as if those people came out ahead because, okay, I've looked at Star Wars. I remember being a baby and my mom taking us to see Star Wars. I remember being 1 year old, okay? I remember being 1, 2, 3, and 4 years old and 5 years old. When I was a baby, that's when Star Trek came out. 1977, that's when I was born. I remember the first Star Trek. I remember being a baby, sitting in my mom's lap in the theater, and them watching Star Trek. It's such an amazing thing because when I was a kid, I was being taught things. And I remember it. All of these things that was happening when I was a child that most kids are too young to remember. But at those ages, there was a being, more dimensional there, who was teaching me a bunch of things. And and so I remember the teaching and I remember the being there and I remember what was happening at the time. And so I have all these memories of being a baby, people holding me, passing me from one person to the other. I remember my parents when I was a baby, that kind of thing. And there was a being who speaks lightning, and he was teaching me and telling me different things when I was very young, younger than what most people remember being. So, but those were my favorite shows: Star Wars, Star Trek, anything that was, in that kind of genre. But as I got older, I was still being taught by those beings who were more dimensional. And the things that they told me are very different from the things that were projected on those shows and on those movies. One of the main things that was very different was they were teaching me that stars are living beings. Okay? All beings create atmospheres also. So when you think about a star, it is a living being in the space that they are saying that they're going to go out in spaceships in and lied to all people of the world and told them they went up to the moon in because they didn't do a moon landing. Um, they told me that that's not what we're going to do, So I was literally taught by those beings who are more dimensional that we're not going to be able to get into a spaceship and go push by some force like a rocket from one planet to the other. First, the distance is so vast that it doesn't make any sense to believe that we would. And then two, they were telling me that is a star's atmosphere, and they taught me what a star is. Okay? So that's a star's atmosphere up there. That is the thing that the stars live in. Okay? Their attention makes our atmosphere. So when you think about that and how much a star generates, how much heat a star generates, they need that atmosphere for the heat that they generate and to process the things that they process. Humans can't get anywhere near a star without having an earth shift. And the earth can't be too near a star because their processing would be with heat, too much heat. So they were letting me know that everything that we do is by connection. Every single thing that we do, when we advance, when we evolve, is by a connection. And it's by connection to more dimensional beings. But there's a difference between more dimensional beings and more dimensional entities. So with more dimensional beings, it's because they are living, that they are being. Okay, that living being makes an atmosphere. Now the thing about it is entities also make atmospheres. But the entity's atmosphere is a connection with death. It's an actual connection with what is death and destruction. And because an entity is being destroyed on that more dimensional level that it's on, that pulley, eventually it's got to be destroyed or it will destroy that level. You see? So the more people join those entities, the more threatening that entity is on the level that of dimensionality that it's operating on. So it cannot continue to evolve. On every level, those entities has to be put down in order for any level of dimensionality to continue.
de plata de atún, que era un pozo, cuando mis hermanos también estaban bonitos.
So those entities that people connect to do the evil are very cancerous entities, and they have to be destroyed. They have to be put down. Now, what was making me uncomfortable is that I live on an earth where people worship those who are connected to those entities. And because I am over earth and not under earth, they don't send a bunch, it's about evolution. Everything is about evolution. So everything about over earth is about evolution. That that is to say, I'm very uncomfortable when there's not evolution. Wherever there's not evolution, I'm very uncomfortable, and I'm very uncomfortable when things don't evolve. On a certain level of that is not evolving fast enough. So, and then everybody on this dimensionality on Earth right now who has real knowledge goes through a real attack, and that was a really hurtful thing because when I started getting attacked by witchcraft, it was hurtful because okay, I grew up in a place. It was a very small town, mostly. No one knew anything about witchcraft. No one knew anything about witchcraft, anything that I knew. And most of my family was very Christian. So because they were very Christian, I didn't have any help. So there was no one to talk to. There was no one to recognize any of the symptoms that I was experiencing as somebody was attacking me, as something was attacking me. And then when I did become old enough and I understood what was happening to me, I very much had to go at it alone. And so, it was a very hurtful thing then too, because then I was very much alone, fighting people, projecting onto me through witchcraft, or projecting at me through witchcraft, in a society that largely ignores witchcraft because they are so indoctrinated that all they see daily is how to pay the mortgage, how to pay the rent, um, how to get some more clothes, how to get food they like, and so that preoccupies a gigantic, most of society, because they have made it so difficult to do those things according to the way that witchcraft works, because those entities, in order for them to be connected to those entities, they have to do very evil things. So the evil things, that the evil energy that they conduct, makes it to where they make it very difficult to have anything that would be of comfort or that would be of survival, that would conduct any kind of harmonious energy, because they too, for instance, in societies, they have to be able to murder. Okay, the murder is not a normalcy. It's not a Murder is not ordinary. It's not something that people do because a bunch of people are together. Like a million people getting together, a billion people, 30 billion people getting together on one place does not create murder. Not only does it not create murder, murder is not natural to those 30 billion. But because those entities do murder and create murder as part of their cultivations, that's what's created within the society. So it's very uncomfortable for anybody with honest knowledge and wisdom, because wisdom doesn't come with murder. Power can not wisdom. And so that's a part of it. And so what the thing that really was opening my eyes was them, and me and other metaphysicians also have seen these texts where they talk about the technologies. And so what we find out is that the technologies that we have now are not only technologies that we had before, but they're also technologies before that are more advanced than the technology that is had now. But we got those technologies more advanced by getting rid of the things that have been manifested by the evil now. So when you look around now, people think that people think that what they see is the height of technology. But when we read the sacred text, we know that it's not the height of technology. And then when we look at the evidence in the world, we have an understanding that what is here now and what evil is manifested is not the height of technology, because it's evidential. It's evidential. But the way they explain that away, as I said before, is they say, okay, well, that's aliens. Aliens must have created that. They try to come up with any reason to say that anybody created it except human beings. They say it's aliens. They say it's some extinct giants. They think giants just went extinct, you know. And so it's odd to me. Um, and then if aliens did do it, what are they invested in doing it? They say, well, the aliens put in the Orion's belt because they're saying that that's where they came from. Sometimes it's a, but there really evidences that there was more advanced technology than the technology that we perceive. So, and witchcraft also is a technology. In fact, everything spiritual, the real, everything that's really. Oh, let me say something. The crazy thing is, like, I was so wanting everything to be done by now. You know, like, I'm, I wanted everything to be done. They've been teaching me these things since I was a kid. And because I've been under such attacks since I was a kid, and the people who attack me are the worst people on earth. They are literally cannibalistic pedophiles who care nothing about anything except the shallow shit, the money, the fame, that kind of thing. They don't care about anything else at all. And so they don't have any investment in human advancement in any way except in that way that they can use to cannibalize, make do perversions, and get money, get luxuries. So they're not invested in sacred texts. They're not invested in human advancement. But we have literal evidences that those more advanced technologies existed. So despite all of that evidence and all the evidence that is available, so much of it has been hidden under like the things like the Vatican. So much of it has been misinterpreted, and that's their investment. Their investment is to keep it hidden. Their investment is to keep it misinterpreted. Um, one of the craziest things, one of the things I was told is most of what religion is was Satanism Satan is trying to misinterpret the text in a way that people would not unalive them for doing the atrocious things they do. Because, it's hard for some people to believe that people are honestly purely evil. That's a really hard thing for people to believe if they're not evil. And so, a normal person who's not evil, if you tell them there is somebody so absolutely evil, purely evil, that they will tear apart a young child, um, atrociously kill and tear apart a young child in order to do a hex on somebody that they didn't even know, in order to do destiny swaps, or in order to do, um, for some terrible reason, um, they wouldn't believe that. They would want to believe that. And part of religion, part of the thing that I'm birthed to do is to tell people, don't let them tell, not to, they tell people they have to confess. Somebody evil attacks someone else, and they'll tell some innocent person they have to confess all of their sins. And then most of the things that person would confess aren't even sins. Um, and then one of the most important things Greater Consciousness, the being who speaks lightning, told me was that they would not have an evil do an evil in order to rectify anything. That was one of the most important things that I was told before I got attacked. Because when the people who were evil started attacking me, they were doing atrocious evil things, and they were doing atrocious evil things in order to attack me. But they tried to convince me that it was something that I needed to confess, or that there was somehow something wrong with me, or I had done something. And we see evidences that people believe that sometimes, because when they talk about brown people being enslaved, Africans being enslaved, and Native Americans, the Africans tend to go into a place where they start saying, well, they enslaved Europeans first. But that's not real. Okay, if you read any of the evidences of history, that's not real. Even the Moors didn't enslave the Europeans. The Moors took over just about all of Europe, not just a little part of Europe, but the entirety of Europe. And they didn't enslave them. As a matter of fact, Europeans was having Moorish babies all over the place. And the point is, they taught me that they would never send an evil to rectify an evil. Never. So nobody will ever, for instance, the lady that Beyonce attacked, she said she felt like she was being molested as an adult. Well, when an evil entity is molesting a person, that means, in doing something, that means that they were molesting children. And as they were molesting children, then they were doing things to her. And so that's what happened to me when the people who attacked me was molesting children. Things were happening to me, and things was being projected at me. So they told me before I was being attacked, um, don't ever believe that they would send an evil to rectify an evil, because an evil can't rectify an evil. Um, or the being who sent it would not be a good being. So there's never a balance of karma when evil is being done to someone. Um, if the person, and then too, what they also told me was, which was very important, if you don't know what you did, like if it's something that, if you're getting, you will never die in this life, and then go into the next life and get attacked for something that you didn't do in the next life. So that was one of the most important things they told me too. Like, there's not ever a time, ever in this lifetime or any other lifetime, that a person will ever be punished for something they did in a lifetime before if they did not do it in the lifetime they're in. So that was very important to know. Because what that's saying is, as we reincarnate, we have to know what it is that we're being hurt for, or it will not rectify the wrong. So they made sure that they showed me and explained to me that if a person did something terrible in one life, if they go into the next life, they're going to do that thing in the next life. They're going to do it if they did not get it rectified in the life before. And therefore, you cannot, and if they did try to punish a person in one life for something they did in the last life that they didn't do in the life they're in, they would not know why they were punished, and it would not cause a rectify of the situation. It would be a wrong done to an innocent. And that was one of the reasons I was so upset with people, and I was, because people, to me, that the absolute atrociousness and the audacity for somebody to believe the stupidity of that somebody would um when evil is telling people that they must have done it before. Like they say the Africans went into enslavement because the Africans before them enslaved the Europeans. So that was such a stupid thing to believe. And so I was very angry that Africans were willing to believe that. And then when you look at the beige people who were explaining those kinds of things, those kinds of concepts, one of the things that made me so angry, and I'm not calling all beige people stupid, this isn't it, but the ones who did witchcraft were fairly dumb. I promise. They're fairly dumb when they do witchcraft. Um, and I have every evidence of that. Um, that I need to perceive that. They will say some very dumb things when they're doing witchcraft. And the reason why they say all of those stupid things is because they're trying to do something very evil and they're trying to get away with something very evil. So they say things, but the thing about when they're saying it is it's the witchcraft that makes people believe it. So that's what gets frustrating. It's not necessarily that people absorb what they're saying, because but when other things are being said that's more true, they don't always absorb it because the witchcraft is making them believe the other thing. For instance, Jesus telling people that evil don't attack evil. Evil don't call out evil. Well, if evil don't call out evil, there is no hell. So that was one of the things that they taught me. There is no hell below. There is no dying and then going to hell like that. People can lose their lives or reincarnate. That's how it's gonna go. Hell and heaven are in the lifetime that you're in. Hell does not come as a punishment. And as a matter of fact, hell happens to the good people, not the evil. So people don't really realize that. The good people experience hell because the evil creates hell. That's why they say the heaven that you of will be the heaven that you go into, because some heavens create hells for others. So the way that's all worded in the Hebrew makes complete sense. Of course, there's no hell below because who's gonna attack who in hell? If somebody evil goes to hell, they're gonna be with a whole bunch of evil people. Them people not gonna attack each other. They're gonna get together and swap stories. So it wouldn't make any sense. And we see that evidence in life because when evil people see each other, and I know personally because of witchcraft, the people who do witchcraft got together and they gang stalked me. Um, they didn't go against each other. When one person, and as a matter of fact, if you know anything about witchcraft, they'll tag a person so that other witches can see that person and also do terrible things to that person in their life. So people who do evil together. Um they don't not do evil. They they do evil together. So when they do that evil, they're trying to project something onto someone. But and then the worst part is, as I said in the beginning, we have to build a mountain of strength. Evil's built a mountain of strength. So because it's too many people who don't know about witchcraft, it's people alone suffering. So once evil attacks us, evil gets together and attacks, and they attack with their energy together. And they do it within a society where they already have all of these things set up in order to help evil do evil, and they manifested it through evil to help evil do evil. Well, that leaves the person being attacked very much alone. And so because they're alone, they don't have a defense. So, um, and evil will, they have a capacity. They're so absolutely profoundly stupid and evil that they have a capacity to believe that molesting children is something that they should do, or that somehow they're so special that they supposed to be able to molest children and then project that onto somebody else and hurt someone else with that. So you have to be careful. There are really honestly stupid and evil people on this earth. There are people who are so purely evil that you wouldn't believe that they existed. You wouldn't believe it. And then some of that is coming out of people going into worship, because remember it says in Genesis that they will be as alike. I mean, they didn't say they will be gods. As a matter of fact, they cannot cultivate godship in a real form. They have to do it in an animal form. It's a whole thing. The explanation is a remedial form of godship. But because people still worship, people will still do what they want them to do. Um, it gets really crazy, you know, um, because of that. So you'll have somebody, like you'll have a celebrity bragging in their records after they'll have murdered. And then I want you all to realize why I'm talking about this honestly. Within those circles, there are several people who have died of brain aneurysms. So think about how rare brain aneurysm really is, and how many people have died from brain aneurysm in those circles in the last 10 years. And I mean all over the world. There have been several, there have been more than a few brain aneurysms in those particular circles all over the world. Like way more than what you should be comfortable with to anybody. That brain aneurysms are happening like that. Because that's part of how witchcraft eliminates people is by brain aneurysms. They will give them brain aneurysms, if they can. Um, but yeah, what you all are missing in your daily lives, where you are doing dumb shit to cultivate luxuries for very evil people, is that there is an evolution that you're missing out on. That there is real evolution that is supposed to be cultivated at this time. And that cultivation is being actually stifled. It's not that people are dumb. You know, people are have the capacity to do so much, like the most extraordinary, the most, things. There, we have the capacity to build pyramids, the whole Giza complex, the pyramids, the Mayans, and the Aztecs, and the we have the capacity to do the most extraordinary things via connections and via how amazing it is to connect with beings and then to be able to do those more advanced things within those spheres. But at the moment, only evil is doing um, any connecting with more advanced beings, and they're not doing it to evolve human beings. And so, because they're doing it through evil, the human evolution has actually been stifled for thousands of years. And so, what you think is advanced technology is really something that we should be have evolved past and done more than what is being done. But as long as those people have luxuries generated, um, we don't. People are not shaking that off of them and getting that more advanced evolution. Now, it's a whole lot of people who are now learning metaphysics. Those people learning metaphysics are trying to project that and get other people to have this real learning, this real evolution, instead of you know revamping old technologies over and over again in order to have a bunch of control. But as I said, I was so very upset because people are worshiping the worst people on earth. They are worshiping the worst people on earth. And then I had an issue because everyone that has any real knowledge is going through a real struggle. If you're a person who don't care about knowledge, if you don't read, um, you don't really care about the advancement of people or in any way, if you can pass somebody on the street and be so limited minded and stupid that you would just think they need a job if they were homeless and not know that there was something honestly substantial going on that is um, hindering them. Not from getting a job because it shouldn't be that we have to get a job, but from conducting energy that could make them comfortable in the atmosphere. Because the reality is that Earth is a paradise made for humans. The galaxy, the cosmic community that we live in is a paradise cosmic community. And you will notice everything that we need in order to feel comfortable within the space that we are in was provided. So the grass is for the feet. You don't have to walk upon the rocks. You can walk on the grass. The temperature is comfortable. Um, the colors are pretty. Everything is provided in the most beautiful form. I mean, it's very beautiful. So there's no reason to create hells upon that. Okay, so the only reasons they're creating hells upon it is because of that connection with entities that are very cancerous. So um, I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I mean, and post this and get ready to leave, y'all. The salad bar at Whole Foods is outrageous. Oh my god! I you know I gotta get like one spoon of everything that I get because I'm lying. I don't get. If I mean, I would be lying if I told you that because I wouldn't. But it's just outrageous to pay as much money as people pay on the Whole Food salad bars is outrageous. Um, but there's a there, I've I'm trying to be very. I try to be optimistic for at least a whole month. But this is the belly of the beast. How can a person be optimistic in a place where in the belly of the beast? It's really hard, and but I'm trying to be. I'm trying to be optimistic. But now I'm gonna download a bunch of data. But I will say, I don't think it's possible. I don't know if it's possible to have a good time here. I mean, I tried. I tried. But if you don't know about witchcraft and you don't know how absolutely evil they can be, and they are the worst people in the world, I promise. They are the absolute worst people in the entire world. And they think they smart for cannibalizing babies. And that's one of the worst things you could imagine somebody do, perceive, thinking that perceive. That is smart to cannibalize babies, that is smart to on a lot of people ruthlessly for very shallow things. But that they have spent 4 centuries, recent 4 centuries, doing it. You don't know. Like I cried. I think I cried a bit. I didn't cry initially, but eventually I cried when I got the real knowledge, the real honest understanding that I had to unindoctrinate people who, despite hating their jobs, got up and went to work every day. And then started to tell other people that they should be miserable too. That should hurt me. Because I can understand the people who like their jobs. You see what I'm saying? If they're doing something that really they feel they're good at and they really liked and they really have wanted to do their whole lives. But even those people who do that don't like the way they have to do their job. There's something about it that is so terrible to them and very hurtful to them. And they want to be able to do it in a better way. Um, and so even they know that they need to revolutionize. So when I had to really understand that the people that I had to unindoctrinate and cultivate into a mountain of strength were people who did that anyway. People who didn't like their jobs and went and did it anyway. Almost like it was something to cry about, because how do you unindoctrinate somebody who hate what they do but still get up and do it anyway? How do you unindoctrinate somebody who's dedicated to something they absolutely hate? Because what I'm asking them to do is to do what they love, do what they like all day long. I'm asking people to stop doing the things they hate or doing things the way that they hate them or hate to do them and do what they love, do what they like every day, all day, period. That's what I'm asking people to do with the revolution. And so imagine that being hard to get people to do. Not, I'm not saying imagine that being hard to get people to do. Please don't imagine that. But it's unimaginably hard to get people to do that in this particular atmosphere that's been manifested. Um, that's where evil's been grafted into it. So that was something that's so absolutely hurtful. I didn't know how to handle how sad that was because that was very sad. And now I'm still very, I knew that when I had to go into this time in my life that I, I wasn't going to be happy. And I wasn't going to be happy about it. And I'm not happy about what's happening to me now. And I'd rather be somewhere else. I'd rather be doing some other thing. And earlier today, I literally went into a place where I was just like, I was almost ready to give up. Like I'm literally almost ready to just say I don't give a fuck about life anymore. You know, just stop letting me live. Not letting me live because I always love that they let me live. I mean, that they reincarnate me. So I'll definitely reincarnate, and I always love that. But why am I living in this life still? You know what I mean? Like, why the fuck am I still here? Like, I just got into a place to where evil is so terrible, and it has such a chokehold on life that is unimaginable to ever feel that I could be happy in this lifetime or that anything in this lifetime was ever worth experiencing because it was such a terrible thing that happened to me in such a terrible time. Like I could not, like literally, I'm so ready to get this the fuck on over with. Like, like, can we get on with this shit? Like, I know what I do. I know who I am, and I adore me, and I adore the stars, and I adore the earth, always. But can we please, can we please do what it is I came here to do? Can we please do that? Can we like stop watching evil do stupid evil shit and still get luxuries out of it? Like, can they please do that already? Can you please, even if they got to unalive more people who are evil, just do it already. Like, I keep hearing these things about separating the wheat from the chaff, and I'm like, I'm almost at the point to where I'm like, who cares about some of that wheat? Some of that wheat can be. They shouldn't be worshiping the chaff, you know. Fuck 'em. You know what I mean? Like I'm ready. Like I'm ready to stop hating most of. I didn't even know I hated like that because I don't ever say the word stupid hardly. I rarely say the word stupid, and I've said the word stupid so many times in the last few days because I'm so ready for it to be done. Can it be done already? And I don't, can we please evolve? Can we please, get off this stupid stage of people worshiping the worst people on earth? Can we please do that already? Like, if they want to keep worshiping the stupid people who cannibalize people, can we just kill them and get this shit on over with? Because I'm so tired of having to project knowledge and people don't perceive. Like, can we please just get it over with? Like, That's where I was at this morning, and so I'm trying to be okay. When I finally got some food, um, I felt better. But wow, I was so ready this morning for. I'm gonna say this morning. It's early day. I was so ready because I'm tired of it. I'm tired of people worshiping the worst people on earth. I'm tired of it, and having to deal with people in that perspective. Like, what? I have to cultivate a mountain of strength out of what? Out of who? You know, people who brag about Beyonce tickets. Like, I'm so fucking tired of her and her husband bragging about doing the most atrocious, evil things because they're into witchcraft. And people bragging about that. I'm like, those are the people I have to come to know. Can you just, some of these people, can they just, oh, I don't even like to say it out loud, but wow. Like, I be at their place sometimes. I be at their place where I'm like, please get it over with. Like, get it up, get it done, please. But that's what they send us for. And then what are we supposed to do? We're separated, and then evil has been manifesting for 4 centuries. So, so it's like wow, it's like that. So anyway, I now I'm ready to. I'm really not. I'm not even ready to go where I'm going. I'm not ready to. I'm not ready to. And every single time I have to go to this place that I'm going, it makes me hate almost every living person alive. I promise. And I knew that it would. I knew that it would. But there are some people on this earth that I very much love and want to survive and evolve. So I can't say I hate everyone. Every time I had to go to this place, I feel like I hate just about everyone. I hate almost everyone. Um, and it's because I'm put in this position because of that. Because of people worshiping the people who attack me through Satanism and people not wanting. They don't even, some people are not even interested. They're so, dedicated to religion that they don't even want to know. But, Buddha is the person who comes outside the castle walls, who is absolutely good, excuse me, and then find out evil exists. And so Buddha is the one that goes through the process of getting to, of figuring out how to adjust and how to manage and how to change society. And so many people are not doing that. They're like, they even sometimes heard about witchcraft and they perceive things and then they either ignore it or they go back to the same thing. And they try to get comfort out of something they absolutely hate. And so it's bewildering to me because I'm not that person who would try to get comfort out of something I hate. You see. So when other people are like that, it's like, are you serious? Are you really trying to extract some sort of comfort out of something you absolutely hate? Even though I understand conceptually why, um, it's such a terrible thing to do and not revolutionize. So I understand that Shango is in the youth and that Shango is revolutionary. And so I think about that. I think about Shango at times like these. Okay, y'all. I will let you